Hey guys, it's Adam aka Swimming Bird, and welcome to The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Now I've got to start by saying that this product was provided by Nintendo. They were kind enough to send me a Switch and a copy of Zelda to try out a little early. So this is going to be a preview featuring a grab bag of interesting clips from very early on in the game during the first handful of hours, and I'm not allowed to talk about any major spoilers, nor do I want to spoil anything major for you guys, of course. So stuff like the story, dungeons, villages, that's all off limits. But I am going to share my thoughts and show you some cool stuff that you probably haven't seen or heard about yet, like horse dancing into a cooking fire, as well as riding on that creature in the thumbnail. So I'm going to say sorry to Truffles here, give him a bunch of apples to build up my bond. Horses are very flammable and they can die, so be careful. But they also have skills in dressage. They can dance around, as you just saw. If you hold down the targeting button on horseback, you can strafe around, and as fun as it is just to dance, it is pretty useful if your horse gets stuck or in a precarious situation, you want to move it out a little bit gently, then there you go. And I have to say that not only do I feel like this is my favorite horseback riding in any Zelda game, I feel like it might be my favorite in any game, period. There's a lot of nuance to these horses, and they are very useful. You can see the yaw button, A, you actually have almost like gears on a horse where you start out just, standing still, then you go to a walk, a trot, and then a gallop, and you can kind of pull back to slowly back off through the different levels of speed and soothe your horse to build up your bond. You want to do that when it's doing something that you like, and they have different levels of boosts and different stats and things that we'll go into a little bit in a second here. But first, if you run into a tree when you're controlling a horse, it will not like that. But if you let the horse control stuff, it will avoid trees and ride on roads. So just let go of the control stick in a road and, or a forest, and it will do that for you. Now you can block these Octorok shots, but if you hit A, you can parry them. So a little bit tougher to kill an Octorok with its own shot, but there is a theme in this game of mechanics from old games being fleshed out more or made good on, and we'll go into that as well. But first I am going to run up and get very lucky to pass by this elk and just jump on, just like a horse taming. You soothe it with L, and there we go. We've got our own deer mount, just like a Studio Ghibli film. And this is amazing. This is so cool to find out, but also very bittersweet. So as you can see, it's got the same controls at the bottom there as the horse, but this is as fast as the elk will go. You can't get any boosts out of it. And that would be okay on its own because, a lot of areas you might want to go slow anyways to check stuff out. You can also, of course, when you're riding, just turn completely around and shoot some keys with an arrow. That was so cool that you can, just kind of pay attention to combat while your mount does the riding. But the bad thing about these guys, the thing that is sad, is that I have not found a stable yet that will take them. We can't register or board them, at least to my knowledge. And they don't want to put them in with the horses. I can kind of understand, but it's very sad that you can kind of tame these guys, but then when you jump off, they are goners. They just dip away. I know they're wild animals, but I really, the one exception I wanted was an elk so he can look like Ashitaka, but that's okay. It's still fun. If you don't have a horse when you're in a forest, you can still grab a quick deer ride and hang around for a while. There's a little funny dialogue. If you try to register, I had my hopes up because he was like, oh, you want to register? Oh, man. Get out of here, you jokester. So let's say goodbye to my elk here, and then I'll call my horse so we can get into some exploration and some combat. And you might notice I'm wearing a green tunic. That's the Hylian tunic. Originally it was red, but you can dye single or your full outfit worth of clothing. There's a method to do that, and it's really fun and funny, so I'll let you guys discover that. But it is nice that you can change your clothing color. I almost made a full pink outfit of gear to look like Little Mac in his jogging suit with this hood and everything, but yeah, I went with the green, and that might be what the developers meant by the green tunic being in the game. I don't know, there could be a better one though, but you can make pretty much any tunic green. You just got to use the right materials. Now let's talk about weapons a little bit, because I just went crazy and stabbed that stall bokoblin there. If you charge up attacks, you get really cool, unique special attacks. You'll see the hammer one a little later when I fight some moblins that'll swing around, and all the weapons are very nuanced. I'm very glad that we're not just using the sword and a handful of extra items. The items breaking and weapons breaking in general, it really gets you to go out of your comfort zone. You gotta try out a bunch of different weapons because you're never holding on to any of them for very long. And the game also makes good on that idea from Wind Waker of stealing enemy weapons, only this time you get to keep them, so they're much more rewarding to try to take away. You want to get out there and raid enemy camps or take the extra time to solve the bonus puzzle and get some good gear and weapons from those chests in shrines. Now, the shrines have those spirit orbs for completing them, and 4 of them will get you a new heart container or a new chunk on your stamina meter, but the bonus rewards, those extra chests that you have to go out of your way to get, have really good stuff, so do not sleep on those. And there's some cool weapons out there like boomerangs that act as swords, but if you try to throw them, unlike a sword, they will come back when thrown, and you have to hit A to catch them, so kind of like the Octoroks, a little more nuanced, but yeah, having all this stuff in just makes it so that there is a lot more out there that is worth seeking out. So we're going to go ride around a little bit. As you saw, I sat down at a campfire. I used a piece of flint that I found in a node of ore and hit it to light that campfire, and you can use that to chill until you want, to get moving again. So if it's scary, if it's nighttime, you can wait till morning. I just hit a bird on accident. There's tons of guardian corpses all over here, but there are some that you got to be wary of. So exploring, let's talk a little bit about riding around this map. This game is huge. Even at the very beginning, this is not far from the Great Plateau, the area you've probably seen in a lot of videos, the tutorial area. That really shows you how you're going to be running around and exploring shrines and doing stuff. But even the area that I found recently that I'm exploring, it's big enough to encompass an entire other Zelda game, and that is one of like 9 or 10 different huge chunks on this map. It is insane how big this map is and how dense it is with stuff to do. There's stretches where you can ride your horse, but there are lots of things to see and do, and of course lots of loot and materials to get. I mentioned the different gear and weapons you can get, but materials are very useful in this game. Not only can you use things like monster parts, critters like bugs and fish and stuff, and food, meat, and stuff like that. That is all used for cooking and elixirs, so you can get a lot of cool stuff. I've got some stealth up on right now in the upper right, you can see. But also you can use that for other things, like dyeing clothes uses different stuff. Like I used a frog and some herbs to make this beautiful green tunic there. So there you go. And you can also sell a lot of it. Rupees, not too common to find, but as long as you've got a lot of loot, then you can use them to, you can use that stuff to sell and get a bunch of rupees, and there's tons of stuff to buy. So I really like, they've made good on the rupees being more valuable, especially when you can't just slice grass and find rupees and hearts. Things like food to heal you and rupees to buy stuff are much more valuable in this game. There's a moblin. I wasn't sure about their designs at first, but I really like them now. They're huge and can be kind of imposing, but they are pretty slow. Those bokoblins tried to throw a barrel at me, but I think they messed up a little bit and blew themselves up. So these little encampments are all over the place, but they're very fun and worthwhile to take out. They don't take very long, but you can get some good stuff. Here's a bomb arrow. Don't want to waste it in the main game. If you're doing that, you probably should save your bomb arrows for a big enemy, but thought it would be fun there to try that out. And as you can see, like the jumping strike for the spear is very unique. Spear is very good at keeping enemies away from you if you don't want to get too close, but just a lot to see, a lot to do, tons of secrets to discover in this giant, massive world map, much more alive than Wind Waker or Skyward Sword or any of the previous ones. And if you're curious and you try weird stuff, you're going to find little Koroks hiding with seeds as a reward, so get out there, and explore all over. Here's that crazy hammer charge attack. That spin is devastating. It just took down a moblin with one big combo by charging it all the way up. And we're going to have a little run-in with a fox here, where we just kind of hang out with him. And you want to pet your horse when it does good things. If it disobeys you, don't, pet it. And if you pet it when it does what you want, you'll get your bond up faster. That fox, it looked like he was running with me, but it didn't want any business with us. But I will see another one here in just a second. So I just kind of decided to jump off and found this area that I didn't know was here that had to do with something secret. But yeah, the amount of wildlife is crazy. You can kill stuff. You don't have to, but you can get supplies from taking them out, or just, watch them as ambient background foxes and birds spice up the environment and stuff like that, which is really cool. But I really like that all the stuff that you're doing in this game is much more rewarding than in previous Zelda games. You're not just going to get, like, a stamp or or a purple rupee for doing a thing. You're going to get stuff that has big effects, like the spirit orbs from doing the shrines. You want to get those because you got to make that choice if you're going to boost your health or boost your sprint meter. And there are ways to go back on that. I'm going to try to bribe this fox with some meat. I was trying to use my sneaking potion, but I've got my handful of steaks here, so I'm going to drop these. And at first I thought the fox had an interest, but it's just trying to get away from me. There we go. It kind of perks up, but I was thinking it might act like a dog and actually go after the food, but we'll see the dog eating some food here in a second. I was just kind of hanging around this graveyard, but seemingly a graveyard. It's got all these little statues, and discovered some cool stuff. This guy was looking around here. But yeah, I mentioned the spirit orbs. There is ways to go back on your choice if you decide. It's not like the first Zelda where you have to choose between a potion and a heart container, and if you pick the potion, you're just out the heart container. There's ways to mess around and re-spec your Link, basically. So it is nice. This is one of those little puzzles I was talking about with the Korix where you don't need to use all 5, but I saw, oh, this one doesn't have an offering, like a little Jizo statue, where you see them on the side of a Japanese road and, give him some food. And there he is, and he's going to give me a seed. So just lots of little stuff. If you're curious, if you see something that looks interesting, chances are it's a Korok hiding or there's something good there. I happen to hang out till night and see this creepy thing, which I won't spoil for you guys, but I try a bunch of stuff on it. You got to be curious in this game. You got a lot of different runes and ways to go about solving puzzles. You don't just want to hit everything with a big hammer like I just did, but yeah, so lots of cool stuff to see, and we'll end with a look at the stable and the little dog. So at first I thought maybe this could be a companion like Wolf Link, but if you are nice to the dog, you hang around it, you give it food, it actually is there to find a secret. It will find a secret around the stable for you that you might not be able to find on your own. It will lead you to it. So it's useful for that. It's probably the stable keeper's dog anyways, so I can't take it. But at the same time, I did rain down some meat to try to bribe it to go on an adventure with me. I scanned in the Ocarina of Time Link Amiibo to show you guys some of the Amiibo functionality. It is a rune that you unlock pretty early on, and you can get cool stuff. Most of them just, give you little supply drops of stuff that's not gonna make you overpowered, but it'll help you out. If you're running low on weapons or you need a bit of food or something, then there you go. You get a little bit. You can only do it once a day. And the Wolf Link one really seems to be the Amiibo that is most interesting, and I'm hoping that there is some other companions like the whistle button hints at to also accompany you other than your horse and Wolf Link, because I'd like to see, some other wild animals like a dog here that can go with you and have a similar functionality. So I give this guy some meat. He is very happy to eat it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will have a full series of The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild on March 3rd. I'm having a lot of fun, and it is shaping up already to be the best Zelda game. No overstatement here. It's a return to form, but also this amazing evolution of the series. So please, if you enjoyed this, maybe subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time for more Zelda. Goodbye.